All right, let's get right into it. We have a lot of money to accept tonight, so the first item is 316-24. Per honor the mayor requesting authorization to accept and expend the sum of $60,000 of FY 25 municipal road safety grant funding from the Executive Office of Public Safety. Acting Commissioner, I believe, is here.
Acting Chief, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, Acting Chief, excuse me. I assume you're here to take care of or explain this item, so please go right ahead.
I am, thank you. We are asking to accept and spend $60,000 from the Executive Office for Public Safety and Security. This money is going towards roughly $40,000. This is going towards enforcement, whether it's distracted driving, sober driving, et cetera, throughout the fiscal year. We're also looking to buy helmets, lights and other safety equipment for children for bicycles. We're looking to spend money for an $8,000 traffic data device, as well as sending 3 of our officers to a traffic safety conference next year in California for a total of $60,000.
Okay. Are there questions from anyone on the committee? Okay, if not, can I get a motion from someone to approve?
I'll move it.
Okay, Council Maliki moves approval. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Okay, I believe that's a vote of 5 in favor and 0 opposed, okay? All right, second item, Her Honor the Mayor requesting authorization to accept and expend the sum of $302,922 of FY 25 support and incentive grant funding from the Executive Office of Public Safety.
Thank you, Counselor. So
Chief?
this is for our 911 center. Approximately 272,000 and some change of that is going towards salaries. The other $30,000 is going towards equipment inside of dispatch and technology, upgrading some of our software systems as well. And this is an annual grant. We get this every year. Again, it helps pay as part of our salaries, et cetera.
One question that I had is, when we get grants that fund actual staffing positions, you know, there's always a concern about what can happen down the road if the grant goes away. But it seems like this is something that's been repeated for several years now. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I know we've had it for at least the last 9 or 10 years. I can't recall exactly what the date is when we first got this. Again, the state has been very generous in granting these types of grants. We do, I don't want to say it's good, but it's not good. We're budgeted for 24 dispatchers. We're currently down to 20 right now. We've from the low of 14. So we do have a few dispatchers' salaries to play with. Unfortunately or fortunately, I don't know how you want to look at it, but it is a concern for us down the road, and we will address that as our staffing levels get back up to where they should be. I think that's a couple years down the road at least, though.
Okay. Questions? Council Maliki?
So is the grant essentially being used to cover the missing people with overtime?
Some of it is going to cover overtime, yes, but it is actually covering at least 2 salaries and then other overtime situations.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else? I see we've been joined by Council Mickley. Anyone else have a question? Maureen, did you want to speak?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This does cover 2 positions, but the only thing I wanted to say is if for some reason the state no longer gave us this grant, we look at the number of man hours or woman hours, person hours that we need to run the dispatch center to make sure that we keep minimum staffing levels. So if for some reason this grant went away, we would not necessarily be reducing numbers of dispatchers. We may instead just have to find money elsewhere in the general fund to make sure that we're budgeting for a full complement of what we need to cover all the hours. So I wouldn't
Okay.
want anyone to think that public safety would be at risk.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else have a question or a comment? All right, seeing none again, can I get a motion to approve?
I'll move it.
Okay, Council Malachi moves approval. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, motion passes 6-0.
Thank you all
Thank
for
you,
your time.
Chief. 314-24, Geronimo May requesting authorization to appropriate and expend the sum of $7,416.12 from the judgment and settlements accounts for the full and final settlement of a minor versus the city of Newton. As is always the case, we have the option, if we needed additional information about above beyond what the law department can share in public, we do have that option. But why don't we go ahead? I think it's Miss Kelly. Are you here for this item?
I am, yes, thank you.
All right, then please explain to us what you can about this situation.
You bet. I hope I'll be quick, and I think I am the smallest ask on your sheet tonight. So essentially, this is a run-of-the-mill rear-end motor vehicle accident. One of our DPW vehicles who was on call was at a red light stop behind a car, and his foot came off the brake as he was reaching for his work phone and essentially bumped into the car in front of him, actually shattering the back windshield where the minor was sitting. The demand came in both for the mother who was driving the car, as well as the minor daughter sitting in the back seat. The demand was originally $30,000 for both of them. After reviewing medicals, requesting prior medicals, and some negotiations, I was able to settle one for much less than the authority needed from council, and the other one for the minor for the amount asking, which just covers her medical expenses. This is a very clear case of liability. The driver was cited on scene for distracted driving. We would absolutely lose this case in court. And given that I was able to bring down the demand amount quite substantially, I feel like this is a very good and reasonable settlement for the city.
Okay, thank you. Maureen, you want to add to that?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I don't know if it matters or not, but I thought I would raise it. The wording in the docket item actually is incorrect. The numbers are correct on the docket item, but it says the sum of $7,416,000. That second thousand word should be stricken. So I don't know if you need to
Okay.
amend it or not, but I just thought I would raise it.
I think that's probably what, if hopefully the board order reads correctly. So if not, then, we can amend this and make sure, I'll ask that we make sure that the board order, which is obviously the most important thing, reads correctly as far as the money. Thanks for bringing that up. Any questions on this? I thought that it was, pretty clear, straightforward. Seems like the law department's done an excellent job of getting a reasonable settlement. So I was asked if I thought, we would be going into executive session. I said I didn't see, but I mean, it's always the possibility. So does anyone have any questions? Okay, then can we take a vote on this item as amended by removing that second thousand in the docket item, and we'll make sure that I don't have the board order in front of me. And if I go searching for it, I'll lose all of you. That's just the sad story of my limited skills. So I don't want to lose you and check it. So anyway, no other questions then? Can we get approval on the item which was intended to be $7,416.12?
I'm happy to move that. I was just trying to see if I could pull up the board order just to ensure that.
All right, so there's a motion for the $7,416.12. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed? Abstentions? Okay, the motion passes by a vote of 6-0. Thank you. 312-24, appropriate 25,000 for inspector training. The mayor requesting authorization to appropriate and expend the sum of $25,000 from the court fines account for continuing education and training of our inspectors. I believe, is the commissioner here? Is our, I don't see the commissioner. Does anybody see him? All right, well, why don't we just, why don't we hold this item for now and hopefully he shows up. And if not, we'll take it up at a subsequent, meeting. All right, so can I get a motion to hold?
I'll move hold.
Motion to hold, all those in favor, please say aye.
And we do need to take that second 1,000 out of the board order.
Okay, thank you. All right, so all those in favor of holding the item for now, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions. All right, the motion to hold passes by a vote of 6-0. Top of page 2. Her Honor the Mayor requesting authorization to appropriate and expend the sum of $105,253 from the Energy Stabilization Fund to fund an LED lighting project at Newton South High School. Mr. Ferguson.
Yes, thank you, Chair Gentile. This project is to complete the conversion of the entire high school from fluorescent to LED. We've been doing it in phases since 2015 using Green Communities grants and some funds out of the Energy Stabilization Fund, plus utility rebates. So this will bring us to 100% completion of the LED conversion project at the high school. This project comes with a $30,000 rebate source, so the total cost of the project is $135,000, with $30,000 of that coming from an Eversource rebate.
Okay. Any questions? Council Maliki.
Just curious, is Newton North already LED?
Yes, we did Newton North, actually also out of the Energy Stabilization Fund about 4 years ago, and we did it in one shot. That was like a, I don't know, $550,000 project, as I recall.
Great. Thank you.
Okay, any other questions? Is there a motion?
I'll move it.
Council Maliki moves approval of the item. All those in favor of 313-24, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Okay, the motion passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next is another grant, 310-24. Her Honor the Mayor requesting authorization to accept and expend the sum of $93,376 from the Massachusetts Department of Environmental Protection's 2024 Financial Assistance application for drinking water lead service line replacement planning project program. Who is here for this? Is Mr. Taverner, are you here for this?
Yeah, I wasn't prepared for this one, but I will take it. Maureen, is this one yours or mine or? Okay, thanks. Okay, I'll take it. This is,
Yours, Lou.
pardon me?
It's yours.
Okay, okay, thanks, thank you. Yeah, this is I'm Lou Taverna, city engineer. This is a grant from the Mass DEP for the it's for the planning of the drinking water lead service line replacement program. Again, I'm not prepared a lot about this, but it is a grant for $93,376 as we continue to seek out and find these lead services, within that, lead from the water main to the house within the city of Newton. As we find them, we rectify the situation, but it's an ongoing problem. And this is a grant from Mass DEP.
So, Lou, I know that we've received this grant before, this kind of a grant before. My recollection is it was for substantially more money. But I can't remember if this was money that went to the homeowner to try and help them replace the lead line, or how was it worked in the past?
Yeah, I believe it. I believe it is. It's because the way we currently do it, we would charge the homeowner for the expense of removing and replacing their portion of the lead service pipe with a zero interest 10-year loan. And I believe this monies would supplement that. That's my understanding. Maureen, do you?
If I may, Mr.
Yeah.
Chairman, I think
Yeah.
what you're recalling is several years ago, probably 7 or 8 years ago now, we actually applied for a $4 million zero interest loan from the state when all the issues became evident about lead in the different service lines. That money was all used to help homeowners have their lead service lines repaired, and then people have been on betterment payments with us since that point in time. So we ended up spending, I think we spent about 3.6 of that money, and I believe we still have either 300,000 or 400,000 available for further actual work. But this is a grant for design.
When you say design,
I
design,
think is this
Planning.
planning? I'm sorry, planning.
all right, so, so this isn't the program that I was thinking back on, that, as you point out, that was a loan, zero interest loan. So
That's
this is no grant,
That's correct.
but
Correct.
it seems like, Council Malika, you had your hand up. Why don't you go first?
Okay, this is kind of off the top of my head from memory of public facilities meetings and the water sewer stormwater group, but this money I think is like for doing an inventory and updating the data. The big money that you remember, I guess, is for actually doing the replacement lines. I guess way back when they did the original trying to get rid of lead service lines, they had some kind of, refuseniks, people who didn't want their lines messed with. So there's them to take care of. As I understand it, we've been finding them as the new water meters have been going in. So those can be hopefully taken care of for good. And then the federal standards, the lead and copper regulations are getting progressively stricter. And we have to also pay attention to, I guess it's the galvanized lines, because they don't bend. So where you need a bend, you might have a joint that might have lead in it. So that's like going to be like another iteration. And I'm not sure if that's covered in this. I think the fact that this inventory is going to designate lead, not lead, galvanized or something else, we would have that data for whenever we had to deal with those. That's my kind of, sorry, off the top of my head, recollection.
Well, I'm gonna ask that I see no reason not to accept the money, so I'm gonna ask that we approve it, but make it subject to second call so that somebody, Lou, can you, whether it's you or someone else in the department can give us a paragraph to explain exactly how this money's gonna be
Yeah, we'll
used?
do, yeah, yes, sir.
All right, can we please do that?
Yeah.
All right, any other questions from, Council Bixby?
Sorry, having trouble raising my hand there too. There was a lot of background things and sort of submission pieces in our packet about this that I was having a little bit trouble following. So I guess, based on Councilor Malachi's thing, it does seem like there's, notification then that would also go out after the inventory was made. So I guess my question is sort of, are there follow-ups? Like this grant seems good and useful and important, but then the what's next would be the next question as well. So we don't need to hold all this up, but are there follow-ups that are required either from the city or from homeowners or whoever gets this information that we should know about?
Okay, Council Malachi?
Yeah, I think one of the good things in this grant that it would provide the data to create it's supposed to include, we will ultimately create an online map that'll be on the city website so people can see, look at any property and see what type of service line it has.
Yeah, that's correct. The city of Boston has already done this, I believe, or to some extent. And so this would allow Newton to do the same. You could click on your home and you could find out what the water service pipe is.
Okay, well.
And I would say, the more we look, the more we find. Obviously, the water meter replacement program, we are finding more lead services than we thought. Back to the galvanized pipe, where we now know that some of the galvanized pipe that's in the ground is lead lined and has lead joints, so that needs to come out. And we also have lead goosenecks at the where the water service meets the water mains. We're trying to tackle that problem as well.
Okay, well, I think you know what we're looking for as far as, just a little more backup. So with the understanding that this vote will be subject to second call and getting more information, can I get an approval to a motion to approve the item?
I'll move it.
Okay, Council Malachi's moved approval. Again, with the understanding that we'll get a little more backup. All those in favor of the item, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Okay, the vote is approval 6-0. All right, thank you. I think we have you for a couple here, Lou. Next item is 315-24. Her Honor the Mayor requesting authorization to transfer and expend the sum of $215,000 from the TRIO mitigation funds identified in Council Order 96-17, Condition 6, for the purchase and installation of new traffic signal equipment at the Lowell Ave, Washington Street intersection. We certainly have discussed this quite a bit recently, and the reason for it when we were talking about, the Washington Street project. So I believe several of you have already heard about this situation, but anyway, Lou, is this you?
Oh, no, I'm going to pass this off to Ned Codd, our
Okay.
Director of Transportation.
Okay, Ned, welcome, and please fill us in.
So this is $215,000 proposed for use of the TRIO mitigation funds at the intersection of Washington Street and Lowell Avenue to basically upgrade all of the traffic signal equipment, replace the mast arm, the traffic signal controller, all of the signal heads, pedestrian and vehicle signal heads, put in video detection equipment. What this will enable us to do is to provide a dedicated left turn lane and phase for westbound traffic, westbound Washington Street traffic. That's the traffic that's headed toward West Newton to turn left onto Lowell Avenue over the turnpike. which is a pretty heavy movement and causes some delay and backup. These improvements will also fit in well with the Washington Street pilot project design by having a single dedicated westbound left turn lane and a single westbound through lane that is more consistent with, it meets up better with the Washington Street pilot design.
Okay, so you already answered the one question I have. It's only in the direction of the traffic that's heading west, not east, for a dedicated left-hand lane, right?
That's correct.
Okay. Questions from anyone else on the committee? Council Mickley. You're muted, I think, David.
There we go.
There you go.
Happens to everyone. Thank you, Mr. Chair. No questions, just a few quick comments. Really excited to see this here. Appreciate also all the work that Ned has done on this, getting it to this point. This is an issue that residents, this is in Ward 2. This is an issue that residents in Ward 2 have been pushing for over a decade now. There's email trails of residents wanting this for a decade. And together with other Ward 2 councilors, Councilor Albright, Councilor Lucas, we've been working on pushing for this over the past few months. So really excited to see it. I think the residents in the neighborhood will really appreciate it. It will make it safer, more efficient, and it's long overdue, and glad it's here and that we have the funding for it. So hope that we can get this through tonight.
You making a motion?
I'm making a motion to approve.
Okay. Anyone else have a question or a comment? Okay, seeing none, all those in favor of the item, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Okay, motion passes 6-0. Next is 318-24. Her Honor the Mayor requesting authorization to borrow $4,403,000 in an interest-free loan payable in 1/10 installments over 10 years from the Massachusetts Water Resources Authority, Sewer Infiltration Inflow Local Financial Assistance Program Phase 15. This is designed to help with the construction of the sewer CIP project number 10. Lou?
Yes, I'll take this one, Council. Again, Lou Taverna, City Engineer. Yeah, this is an MWRA loan only for the Phase 15 Sewer Infiltration Inflow Removal Program. The reason why it's a loan only is because many of the communities, MWRA communities, have not quite used up their Phase 14 loan grant. Newton, we use ours as soon as we get it, we use it, but many communities are far behind and haven't. So this is a stopgap. They decided to do a stopgap loan only program so that communities like Newton and a few others can continue our sewer infiltration inflow mitigation and removal program. So it is a zero interest interest-free loan payable 1/10 per year over 10 years. We intend to use this as in projects in Newton Center, Newton Highlands, Newton Corner, and in Waben as we continue to march through the city, making an attempt to remove our extraneous sewer flows.
Okay. Steve, do you have like a rough idea? I mean, we've certainly gotten loans like this in the past for this very specific use. Do we still have a number of them that we're continuing to pay off? Or we only have a few? I'm just trying to get an idea of like exactly how much debt on this kind of a program that we have out there.
Yes, I can pull up the numbers now, but we definitely have a few different ones, very similar to this, the different phases of the sewer infiltration program. But I can get you those numbers in a minute if you'd like.
You don't have to do it on the fly. Maybe you can just give us something in the packet. Just give us an idea of what we have outstanding on this, on water, on sewer projects.
Sure.
Okay.
I can get you that.
Other questions, Maureen?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just for the big picture is that for the most part, the sewer program, we have funded almost all of the work that we've been doing. So we do close to $5 million worth of work every year and have been for now probably 12 or 13 years. Most of all of that money has come from MWRA in either the form of no interest loans or grants. So for the most part, we haven't had to sell bonds for any of our sewer work. We do sell bonds for the water work, but for the most part, we've been getting most of the money from MWRA. So I don't know what the number is. I'm sure Steve can get all of that for you, but just so that you know the big picture, the sewer projects, we basically borrow the money from the MWRA.
Okay, Steve?
Thanks. At year end, it was just under 12.3 million. Almost all of it is probably 11 and a half or so is tied to actually 12.3, but probably around 10 is tied to MWRA numbers, and the rest are other borrowings for sewer.
Okay. All right, other questions? Okay. So it's been a while. It used to be a loan/grant program. They used to lend you some, but they also used to grant you some.
That's correct.
Outright grant, right? But
Yep,
that hasn't happened in a few years, correct?
Yeah, phase 14 was a loan grant. I believe phase 13 was a loan only. So we've done the loan only award before. Yeah.
Okay. All right. If there are no other questions, can I get a motion, please?
So moved.
Okay, motion made by Council Lipoff. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, abstentions. Motion passes 6-0. Next is docket item 319-24. Her honor the mayor requesting authorization to borrow $1,957,300 and another interest-free loan payable in 1/10 installments over 10 years from the Massachusetts Water Resources Authority, Phase 4 Water Loan Program. Mr. Taverna.
Council, you need to amend that number. It's actually $19,573,000 is the total loan. Over the 10-year period, it's actually $1,957,300 per year for 10 years. If you could amend, I think in bold down the bottom, if you could amend that number.
Yep, 19,573,000. Okay.
19 million.
Excuse me.
573,000.
Which is at the bottom of the.
Yeah.
So public facilities already moved the amended number, right?
Yes, thank you. Yes,
okay.
Yeah, yes. Okay, so this again, Lou Taverna, city engineer. This is the water pipeline loan program that we've been participating with the MWRA for many years. This is their phase 4 program. As we're spending our way through phase 3, we're anticipating these monies to be freed up for phase 4. This allows us to remove the unlined cast iron pipe that we have throughout the city and replace that pipe with new ductile iron cement line pipe, bringing the citizens cleaner water through clean pipes, which helps with our water quality and the taste and drinkability of the water. So we're marching through. We're replacing the water mains within city streets that were installed. They were installed around World War II, before and after, when they were using very poor quality pipe. as the material was being used for the war. So we're marching through and replacing that pipe. We also replace the water services as we go along and replace the water main as well.
Okay, Maureen?
Thank you again, just for the big picture. So this is 2 million a year that we borrow from the MWRA for the next 10 years. I think you all know that we spend about 5 million on water work also each year. And so the other 3 million, we do typically go out and ask you for authorizations to sell bonds for the other 3 million to supplement this. So just so that you all understand where all the funding is coming from.
Okay, let's take this in 2 steps. Can I get a motion first to amend the original docket item from the 1,957,300 to the correct number, which is 19,573,000? Can I get a
I'll move
motion?
amendment.
Okay, so motion to amend the amount is made by Council Malachi. All those in favor of that amendment, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Okay, the amendment passes, so the new number that's in front of us is 19,573,000. Are there any other questions or comments from members of the committee? Council Malachi.
I just wanted to understand, so we're getting the 19 million upfront, and we spend it as we need it, and we pay it back 1.9 million a year. So is the kind of the spending part of it kind of front loaded?
If I may, Mr. Chairman, that's not, we get the 1,957,300 each year.
Oh,
And then we start paying that back over 10 years. So you're authorizing us, what you're really doing is authorizing us to borrow this 19 million, but we only borrow 1/10 of it each year for the next 10 years.
okay. And we pay it back over the 10
Over
years?
10 years.
Each
So
element
20
as we get it.
20 years from now, we will have paid back this full $19 million.
Okay.
Okay,
thank
that's
you.
obviously an important clarification. Thank you. Any other questions? Okay, so on the main item, which has been amended, can I get a motion to approve the main item at 19,573,000? Come
So
on now.
moved.
Council Grossman moves approval. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Okay, the motion passes 6-0. On to page 3, docket item 294-24. The Community Preservation Committee recommending an appropriation of $121,621.62 in Community Preservation Act funding be appropriated from the FY24 Open Space Reserve Funds and $28,378.38 from the CPA unrestricted fund balance for the creation of the Spears Park Community Garden. And we are joined. Louis, are you presenting this? Or is someone from the CPC going to start? Louis, you're on? We got to get you on mute. Hopefully you were entered properly so that you can speak. I think maybe you're muted because you're only a participant, not a whatever. Okay. Is there anyone from the CPC that's here? Usually the Community Preservation Committee sends someone, no? Okay. Danielle, can you make sure that Louis is able to be, oh, there he goes. He's getting admitted now. Louis, you with us?
Hi, is everyone waiting for the Spears? Sorry about that.
Yeah, it's fine.
Muted
I
myself
don't-
and then couldn't unmute.
Louis, I don't see anyone from the CPC. Is there someone here that you're aware of from CPC?
No, I thought someone, the chair, or vice chair would be here tonight, but this is a parks, recreation and
Okay.
culture project. So we are happy to represent this particular item.
Please
As
do.
noted, this is for $150,000 from CPA funds to fund just under half or 50% of the total project cost for a new community gardens area in the north of the city, right along Walnut Park and Washington Street. And I'm happy to share my screen to show if that helps.
That's fine.
And so on your screen, this is the community gardens project. So along the south here is Washington Street. On the eastern side is Walnut Park. On the south is also the MBTA and the Mass Pike. The current project is looking to convert a third of an acre of park property into a community garden area with 30 raised garden beds. We've received, as you saw in your packets, we've received $75,000 in state earmarks. Mayor has allocated $96,000 from ARPA funds, and this is the last portion of the funding for this project. Awaiting your questions and eventual approval, hopefully.
Okay. Are there questions from members of the committee? Council Maliki.
No questions. I just wanted to say that we had no issues with it at Programs and Services. Although I did express a preference for testing soil over time to make sure nothing from the Pike travel is, being deposited. And I think Molly Hutchings would be here if she were not probably over at ZAP doing the $2 million request on the First Baptist bell tower.
Okay. I know that there was some opposition to the project. I heard it second, third hand. Not sure what the opposition was, but has that, are those, whatever the concerns were, with most of those been addressed, or what's the status on that, Louis?
Sure. Thank you, Chair, for that question. Yeah, the concerns that arose from the project were primarily around rodent control. So the project took away open composting as part of the project and incorporated heavy-duty metal compost tumblers. We also incorporated raised beds to ensure that critters don't get to the gardens as well. So most of the concerns were around rodent control and some concerns around traffic and schools, but because community gardens don't quite align 100% with schools, those concerns kind of dissipated over
What about,
conversations.
how is the parking being handled?
So the Washington Street currently has a few parking spaces right in front of the parcel, and there are a few other parking spaces just north on Walnut Park. We also are accommodating bike racks and site furnishings, and we do expect that with the Friends group that are all local community members, that we would get more folks to walk to the community gardens rather than drive.
Okay. Any other questions? All right, seeing none, can we get a motion to approve the money as requested?
I'll move it.
Okay, Council,
Excuse me,
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, there's a note that Programs and Services amended it.
Yeah,
I don't know if somebody was at that meeting and if that needs to happen here as well.
It would. I think what the amendment was, 120,
it was about $133, it looks like to me.
Yeah, it
there-
looks like the two amounts needed to be changed a little bit.
Okay. So let's take that action first. So we're being asked to amend the item from the first grant of 121,621.62 to $121,734.56. And then the second number, which was originally docketed as $28,378.38 to $28,265.44. I guess it's just proportion, but it's, here's the little guy. Henry,
oh.
turn him around, Steve. What is he, 3 days old? Welcome.
Yes, he's 3 days old
Wow.
and hungry.
He looks very healthy and big.
So I was on duty. He was sleeping next to me while this was going on, but now he's crying.
Okay.
We'll get to watch him
right.
grow up.
I'll
I'll move the amendment. I believe there was a cost saving somewhere, something changed. So I will move the amendment to the second set of numbers.
Okay, so first, on the amendment to amend the two dollar items, any discussion? If not, all those that are approved, please say aye.
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 Opposed? Abstentions? Okay, motion passes 6-0. Back to the main item, again, both items total, I still believe $150,000, so, can I have a motion to approve the item as amended?
So moved.
Okay, moved by Council Grossman. Any further discussion? Okay, seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Okay, the motion passes 6-0. Thank you, Louis.
Thank you very much. All have a good night.
Final item 308-24, the honor the mayor reappointing Jeffrey Silton, 120 Cherry Street, Newton, as a constable for a term of office set to expire on October 25th, 2027. His paperwork is all in order. His bond is been taken care of and filed. I did not ask Jeffrey to come in because he's been a constable not quite as long as I've been on the council, but he's been around a while, so I think many of you know him. So typically, unless it's a new appointment, we don't ask those folks to come in, so can I get, Julia, it's your ward, can I get a motion?
I was just about to, happy to move him.
Okay, motion to approve Jeffrey Silton as a constable. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstention. Okay, the motion passes 6-0. That concludes the items that we have tonight. I think most of you probably have seen, if not all of you, a email that we received regarding a special meeting on the 30th. I actually called the president because I was not aware of it. I wasn't quite sure what we were doing differently this year, because I was not planning on meeting the 30th, but we'll get it figured out. I just wanted to make sure that people know that there has been a special full city council meeting called. It's not just finance. And I know there's the intent is on one night on the, to talk about the CIP. And then I think the following night to talk about the 5-year, budget forecast. So anyway, I'll get with the president on that, but I wanted to make sure for planning purposes that you all saw that email. All right, nothing left to do, unless anybody has a question or a comment. If not, again, as always, thank you very much for showing up and, for being here, but also being here on time. I appreciate it. And, I'll see you in the near future. Everyone have a good night. Thank
Night.
you.